Hi, friends. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for our second reading of our second week of our summer storybook series. I am so excited to be back with you all reading another story. We're going to wait just 1 minute and let's see if we have any more friends joining us. I hope you all are having a good Friday. And I hope that your weather is really nice. The weather here is very nice. It's sunny and warm. All right. Before I introduce our book today, we are going to talk about our sh sound. Does anyone know how you make a sh sound? What two letters do we put together? Does anyone know? Yeah, you put together an S and an H to make our sh sound. So to make this sound, we're going to round our lips, shh, and we're going to let a little bit of air come out between our teeth, just like you're telling someone to be quiet. You say, shh. All right, so as we're reading our story, we're going to focus on that sound, and we're going to see if we can find any words in our story that have that sound in them. All right? Okay, here is our book. It's called Mr. Quiet. See, someone who is quiet, they might say shh to other people who are not quiet around them. So if someone's too loud, you might say shh, be quiet. All right, so this is our story, Mr. Quiet, by Roger Hengreaves. Wow, that's a long last name. Very long. So this is the front of our book. And here's the back of our book. Look at all of these characters. There's all kinds. All right, let's see. Mr. Quiet. Mr. Quiet liked the quiet life. He lived quietly in a small little cottage in the middle of the woods. The problem was that small little cottage was in the middle of the woods in the middle of a country called Loudland. Oh no, that does not sound quiet. Everything and everybody in Loudland was noisy. Oh, the noise. So Mr. Quiet's the only quiet one in Loudland. And there's his little cottage in the middle of the woods. Dogs didn't go woof like dogs you know. They went woof. Oh my goodness. Oh no, he's not quiet at all. People didn't shut their doors like you or I would shut our doors. They slammed them. Bang! People didn't talk to each other. They shouted at each other. Hello, they'd shout as they met in the street. And you've heard about something being as quiet as a mouse, haven't you? Have you ever heard that? Someone say, oh, they are quiet as a mouse. What does that mean? Let's see. Not in Loudland. They had the noisiest mouse in the world. Squeak, squeak! They'd roar at each other. Oh my gosh. Even the mice were loud. Now, what words in here do we see our SH, our sh sound in? I see one. Shut. S-H-U-T. Shut. All right, let's keep listening for it. Mr. Noisy would have liked living in Loudland. He'd have loved it, but Mr. Quiet didn't. Noise frightened him, so he stayed in his cottage in the middle of his woods as much as he could. Why didn't he like Loudland? Do you remember? Is it because it's because everyone's scary? Everyone's so loud it scares Mr. Quiet. But of course he couldn't stay there all the time. Every week, for instance, he had to go shopping. Another one of our quiet sounds. Shopping. He used to creep into the grocer's shop. Good morning, bellowed the grocer. What can I do for you? Oh, look, He's yelling. Poor Mr. Quiet. Please, whispered Mr. Quiet. Could I have some cornflakes, please? What? Cornflakes, please, he whispered. Speak up! Cornflakes. Can't hear you, shouted the grocer. Next, please. And poor Mr. Quiet had to creep away without any cornflakes. It wasn't fair, was it? Oh, poor Mr. Quiet. He has to leave without any cornflakes because the grocer couldn't hear him. He crept into the butcher's. Please, he whispered, I'd like some meat. The butcher didn't even hear him. He was humming to himself loudly and fiercely. Oh my goodness, how do you hum? When I hum, I go, But it sounds like he was going, Oh my gosh. Mr. Quiet tried again. Please, he whispered, I'd like some meat. The butcher started to whistle. It sounded more like a burglar alarm than a whistle. Oh my goodness. Look, he's whistling so loud it sounds like a siren. Poor Mr. Quiet. Mr. Quiet fled. Do we know what fled means? What do you think? Does it mean to run away or to stay where you are? Yeah, it means to run away. He ran away. Look at him. Oh, and does he look sad or happy? He looks sad. Oh no, you can see his frown. Poor guy. Mr. Quiet fled, empty-handed. It often happened, which probably explains why he was so little. Poor Mr. Quiet. He sat at home that night with a feeling of despair. What does despair mean? That's a longer word that means sad. He was feeling sad. Whatever am I to do? He thought. It's no use, he thought. I'll just have to try again. And so the following day he went shopping again, but the same thing happened. Oh look, here's another one of our sounds. Shopping. Can't hear you, thundered the grocer. Next, please. Can't hear you, bellowed the greengrocer. Next, please. Can't hear you, roared the milkman. Next, please. Can't hear you, boomed the butcher. Next, please. Oh dear. Poor Mr. Quiet went home and went to bed. Hungry. Oh no. I don't like being hungry. But he couldn't get anyone to sell him any food because he was too quiet. What do you think he should do? The next morning, he was awakened by a noise that sounded like bombs dropping. Bombs dropping. Do we think that that would be quiet or loud? What do you think? I think it would sound like boom, really, really loud, just like a firework. Fireworks are really loud. It was the Loudland postman knocking at Mr. Quiet's door. Bang, 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 bang. Mr. Quiet went and opened the door. Morning, shouted the postman. Letter for you. Oh, look at him. He's yelling. And poor Mr. Quiet's just standing there scared. Poor guy. Mr. Quiet took the letter into his kitchen. He sat down to open it. He waited until the noise of the postman's footsteps died away. What do you think the postman's footsteps sounded like? Do you think it sounded like, or do you think it sounded like boom, 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 boom? I think it sounded loud. Clump, 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 clump. Mr. Quiet opened the letter in great excitement. He'd never had a letter before. It was from Mr. Happy in Happy Land. An invitation to stay. Oh my goodness. Who's Mr. Happy? Mr. Quiet was overjoyed. He rushed upstairs and packed his bag and set off that morning. It was late when he arrived on Mr. Happy's doorstep. He knocked on Mr. Happy's door. Tap, tap, tap. Mr. Happy opened the door. Hello, he smiled. I thought I heard something. You must be Mr. Quiet. Well, don't just stand there. Come in and have some supper. Why do you think he said, I thought I heard something? He was uncertain. I think I hear something, because Mr. Quiet's knock sounded like so quiet. It was the first proper meal Mr. Quiet had had for months, and while he was eating it, he told Mr. Happy all about the problems he'd been having in Loudland. Mr. Happy was most sympathetic. Wow. Do you see that word, sympathetic? That is a long word. Let's count how many letters it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 letters. That's a lot of letters to have in one word. Do you know what that means, to be sympathetic? It means to feel what someone else is feeling. If they're sad, you feel bad for them. All right. Over breakfast the following morning, Mr. Happy told Mr. Quiet that he'd been thinking about his problem. I think, he said, that under the circumstances, you'd better stay here in Happy Land. Oh my goodness. Do you think he's going to stay? Mr. Quiet's face lit up. And, continued Mr. Happy, we'll find you a house and, he went on, a job. Mr. Quiet's face dropped. I'm not very good at jobs, he confessed, because I'm too quiet. Ah, smiled Mr. Happy, I have the very job for someone just like you. And so, the very next day, Mr. Quiet started work. And he loves it. Do you know where he works? Where do you think that you could work if you're very quiet? Let's think. You be thinking about it. Let's see if you're right. In the Happy Lending Library. As you know, everybody who goes into a library has to be very quiet. And only whispering is allowed. What does the librarian say when you're talking too loudly in the library? She says, shh. That's our quiet sound. Remember, with our S and our H, and you round your lips and you say, shh. Wow. What a clever idea of Mr. Happy's, wasn't it? And these days, Mr. Quiet is as happy as can be. Why, only the other day, do you know what he did on his way home from work? What did he do? He was so happy, he laughed out loud. Can you imagine? Tee-hee-hee. Next, please. Oh my goodness. So Mr. Quiet, he was so happy that he wasn't so quiet. He laughed out loud. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Do you all remember some of the words that we found in our book that had our shh sound in it? Let's see if you can remember some. You be thinking about it. And let's see if you're right. Oh, I see some. All right. How about this first one that I'm thinking of? If you slam a door, you're closing it shut. Yeah, shut has our word in it. Oh, this one's a good one. If you yell really loudly, another word for that would be shouted. Yeah, so you can shout at someone really loudly to get their attention. So you want to say that one with me? Round your lips. Keep your teeth open just a little bit. Shh. Good job. So that one is for shouted. All right, let's see if we can find another one. Oh, I see lots of good ones. What are some that you remember? Ooh, here's another one. What is something that your parents might have to go do to buy groceries? They go to the store and they shop. Yeah. Do you like to go shopping? I do. I like it a lot. I like grocery shopping and clothes shopping. All right. So for our activity today, we are going to look at some words with our sh sound in it. And we're going to see if all of these words have our sh sound in it. All right. And if they do, I'm going to circle them with our marker. All right. Here is our first word. Ready? Shrink. Does that have our quiet sound in it? Shrink. Yeah, it does. Here it is right here. Shrink. So we can circle it. All right, here's our next one. Bunch. Oh, let's listen. Bunch. Does that have our sh sound in it? Bunch. No. That has, at the end, it has our choo-choo sound in it. So let's hear the difference. Here's our quiet sound, shh, and here's our choo-choo sound, ch, ch, ch. Do you hear the difference? So this one is not our quiet sound. All right, here's the next one. Chop. Does that have our sh sound in it? Chop. Or does it have our ch, ch, ch? Chop. Yeah, it has our choo-choo sound in it. All right, here's the next one. Bush. Bush. Do you hear it? Look, right here. It's our sh sound. Yeah, bush has our quiet sound at the end. All right. What about this one? I think this one was in our story. Shop. Let's listen. Shop. What do you think? Does that have our sh or ch in it? Yes, look, S-H, shop. So that one has our quiet sound. All right, what about this one? Much. Much. Does that have our quiet sound in it? No, it has our choo-choo sound in it. Much. Ch, 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 not sh. Good job. All right, let's do a few more. Push. What do you hear? Push. Do you hear our quiet sound? Push. I hear our quiet sound right here. P-U-S-H. Push. That has our quiet sound in it. All right. Chew. Chew. Does that have our sh or our ch sound in it? What do you think? Chew. Yeah, it sounds like our choo-choo. Chew. Our choo-choo sound. But if we wanted to make it with a quiet sound, what's a word that we could use? They rhyme, which means that the ending sounds the same. So we have chew. Now let's use it with our sh sound. Shoe. Oh my goodness. Like what you wear on your feet. Shoe. So chew is not a quiet sound, but shoe is. All right. Here's our next one. Leash. Leash. Do you hear the quiet sound? Leash. Or do you hear choo-choo sound? Ch, ch. Leash. Yes, look, right here at the end. S-H. Leash has our quiet sounds. Good job. All right, the next one is peach. What do you hear? Peach. Do you hear sh or ch? Yeah, peach. I hear the choo-choo sound, which is not our quiet sound. And look, this one has a CH instead of an SH. So that's one way we can know. All right, we have 5 more. Let's see how you all do. Okay, this one is chomp. Like if you take a big bite, you chomp. What do you hear? Chomp. You don't hear shump. That's our quiet sound. You hear chomp. I think that one's our choo-choo sound. So it is not a quiet sound. Oh wow, this one's a big word. Shampoo. What do you hear in the beginning? Shampoo. You don't hear champoo. You hear shampoo. Which one is it? Is it our quiet sound? Yes, look right here. S-H, shampoo. So we will circle it. All right, our next one is shrub. You might have these in front of your house. They're like bushes. Shrub. Let's think. Do we hear our sh sound or our ch sound? Shrub. Look in the beginning. S-H. That's our quiet sound. Good job. All right, we have 2 more. Let's see if you can guess. Cash. Cash. Oh, and look, the one below it is very similar, except they have different ending sounds. Cash and catch. Which one has our quiet sound? Say them with me. Cash and catch. Which one? Let's see if we can find our S-H, because that's our quiet sound. Which one do you think? Yes, cash. That has our quiet sound. And catch has our choo-choo sound. So that is not our quiet sound. Good job, everybody. Now you all can tell the difference between our quiet sound sh and our choo-choo sound. Ch, ch, ch. You did so good. I'm so proud of you all. That one's a little complicated because we're using letters instead of just sounds. But look how good you did. You guessed all of these right, and you even rhymed a word with our new quiet sound. All right, you all did so good today. Thank you so much for joining me for our book, Mr. Quiet. Who went to, where did he go at the end? Do you remember? And he got a job. He went to Happy Land. Look, he's so happy. And he worked as a librarian because he has to be really quiet to work as a librarian. So it ended up being perfect. All right, you all, thank you so much for joining me today. And we will be back on Monday at 10:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. with 2 new stories for you all and activities. I can't wait to see you all again. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get notifications when we go live, and add us on Twitter. Thank you so much, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.